I never believed an ordinary evening could rewrite the story of my life. Yet that night it did. What began as a quiet dinner and a movie with my stepson turned into something I still struggle to name. There was a strange energy between us. Soft, unspoken, and deeply unsettling. I kept telling myself it was nothing, but somewhere inside, I already knew I was standing too close to a line I shouldn't cross. Welcome to Hidden Desires Unfolded. Your support keeps stories like this alive. So if you're new, remember to subscribe and stay with me till the end, because some truths can only be whispered. My name is Maya. That summer, our house felt hollow, like a waiting room where time refused to move. Daniel, my husband, was always traveling for work, meetings, late-night calls, endless excuses. Our conversations had turned into reminders and schedules. Love had quietly stepped out of the room, leaving only the sound of ticking clocks. Then Ryan arrived. Daniel's son from his first marriage, 23, polite, restless, still trying to figure out who he wanted to be. He was supposed to stay for just a few weeks while sorting out college plans and job applications. At first, we lived like distant roommates sharing the same air. Polite smiles at breakfast, short talks over coffee, laughter during old movies. Nothing about it hinted at danger. Until the night it did. Daniel called from another city to say he'd be gone longer than expected. The house was quiet, and I poured myself a glass of wine, letting the glow of the TV fill the room. A little later, Ryan walked in, hair damp from the shower, wearing gray sweats that made him look younger and older all at once. He sat across from me, silent for a moment, studying me in a way he never had before. "You look lonely," he said softly. I laughed it off, pretending I didn't hear the tremor behind his words, but he kept looking not at me, through me. I felt exposed, as if he had read the ache I had hidden for years. He noticed small things. The music I played when no one was home, the books with folded corners, the perfume I wore even when I had nowhere to go. Attention that once felt harmless, now pressed closer, warmer, dangerous. Then he said the words that should never have been said. "I don't think Daniel deserves you." Something inside me froze. My first instinct was anger. My second was silence, because deep down a quiet part of me agreed, and that terrified me. I told him to stop, but my voice sounded weak, like I didn't mean it. He looked at me, steady, almost pleading, and I saw not a boy but a man who had carried too many unspoken things. That night, conversation became confession. He told me about his fears, how he felt invisible next to his father, how he never fit anywhere. I told him about my loneliness, about the woman I used to be before marriage became a list of duties. Hours passed. Words softened. Walls lowered. When his hand brushed mine, I didn't move away. It wasn't passion then. It was recognition, the fragile comfort of being seen. The room felt weightless. The air between us turned slow, heavy, alive. When he whispered my name, Maya, the sound of it melted something inside me that had been frozen for years. I wanted to stop it. I didn't. And when his lips touched mine, I didn't pull away. It was wrong. Every instinct screamed so, but guilt has a strange rhythm. It waits its turn. In that moment, nothing existed except the warmth of being wanted. Morning came with clarity too sharp to bear. The sunlight that slipped through the curtains made everything look unreal. Our choices, our silence, the memory of the night. Ryan avoided my eyes at breakfast. I avoided the mirror. The house, once empty, now carried a heartbeat we both pretended not to hear. I told myself it was a mistake, that I could lock it away, start over, breathe again. But secrets have a scent of their own. They linger in every room, waiting to be discovered. And deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. The days that followed felt like walking through a dream I couldn't wake from. Every sound, every look carried meaning now. When Ryan entered a room, the air changed. We avoided words that could break what was fragile between us. But silence had its own language. His glances were quick, but his presence stayed long after he'd left. I tried to drown the memory of that night in chores, calls with Daniel, anything ordinary. But nothing ordinary felt real anymore. Daniel's voice over the phone was steady, distant. "You sound tired, Maya," he said one night. "I'm fine," I lied, tracing the rim of my glass as I listened to the hum of the city outside. He promised he'd be home soon, and I almost wished he wouldn't, because I didn't know how to face him without every word echoing the guilt I carried. Ryan, on the other hand, was everywhere. He'd leave small notes, "Dinner?" or "You smiled today." Once, he slipped a folded paper into my palm when Daniel called during dinner. I didn't open it until later. It said, "You make me feel like I matter." I should have been angry. Instead, I kept it tucked inside a book like a secret I didn't want to lose. The tension built quietly. In the kitchen, our hands brushed while reaching for the same mug. His fingers lingered. My heart betrayed me. He looked at me with that same question in his eyes, the one I didn't want to answer. "Do you still feel it too?" And I did. God help me, I did. One afternoon, rain started without warning. I was folding laundry, trying to keep busy, when I saw him standing by the window. His shirt clung to his skin, soaked through. I handed him a towel, pretending not to notice how close he was. The air felt heavy, humming between us. He whispered, "I can't pretend anymore." I shook my head, my voice barely a breath. "We have to." But the space between have to and want to is where everything dangerous lives. That evening I sat alone in my room, listening to the storm outside. My reflection in the mirror looked like someone else. Someone who had crossed a line she couldn't erase. When Ryan knocked softly, I didn't answer. But he came in anyway. He sat at the edge of the bed, his eyes searching mine. "Do you regret it?" he asked. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to say no. What came out was silence. He reached for my hand, but this time I pulled away. "You have your whole life ahead of you," I said quietly. He smiled, broken. "And you're the only part of it that feels real." Those words shattered me, because the truth was I needed to feel real too. But love built on guilt is a house with no doors. It traps you until all you can hear is your own heart breaking. In the days that followed, Daniel returned. His suitcase rolled down the hallway. His voice filled the kitchen again. Ryan disappeared upstairs, keeping to himself. We pretended everything was normal, but normal had already died. I could see the questions in Daniel's eyes, small ones he didn't dare ask. Maybe he sensed the shift, or maybe he'd grown used to my distance long ago. One evening I found Ryan's room empty. No clothes, no notes, just silence. He'd left without goodbye. On the table, he'd left a single line on a torn page. "Some things can't be undone, but I'll never forget how you made me feel alive." I sat there for a long time, holding that note until my hands shook. Outside, the night was calm again. The storm had passed, but it had taken everything quiet with it. Even now, I sometimes wake to the memory of that summer, the taste of guilt, the echo of his voice, the warmth that shouldn't have been mine. I live with it quietly, like a scar only I can feel, because some secrets don't destroy you all at once. They fade into your heartbeat and stay there, reminding you that you once made a choice that changed everything. Maybe one day, the truth will surface. Maybe Daniel will see it in my eyes. Or maybe I'll tell him myself. But until then, I live between two silences. The life I had, and the memory I can't forget.